Let's talk about importing existing content. So the first thing you want to do when you get your new course shell, if you're not going to start from scratch, the first thing you want to do is import existing content. So you can do that under settings or even on the home page. Click on import existing content. Content type, select one. So you have options: copy a Canvas course, copy a course export package. In another video, we'll talk about exporting course content. That's very useful right there. There's a way of doing zip files. If you are pulling in from something else, for instance, Blackboard, if you have a Common Course cartridge from a publisher, you can pull that in, D2L, Moodle, and say you have a quiz that you've created, maybe run it through Respondus, and you can literally take a quiz that you put in Word, run it through Respondus, and on the other side of Respondus will come out a QTI or zip file. It's a very specific type of zip file, and you can choose that for importing as well. This time I'm going to copy a Canvas course. Here I can select the course name that I want. So this is giving me a list of all of the courses that I have, and I can choose which course I want to pull in. So I am going to pull in this January 6th, 2022 example course. If you know your section from before, it's a really good idea to simply type that in on the right. And when you type it in, it allows you to select it. Now here, include completed courses is completely up to you. I never ever recommend completing a course. It's a very specific thing that can happen at the end of your course. And so I don't recommend you do that for all kinds of different reasons, but this will allow you to pull the information out. This does not pull, copying a course does not pull student work. All it does is pull the content in the course. The next thing you can choose is all content. When you choose all content, it literally will pull everything. That includes the dates and times and stuff like that for events from the calendar. That includes meeting times. So if you have things set up in Zoom, it will pull those over. It includes all of your announcements, assignments, discussions, everything that's on the left-hand side here in the menu comes in with all content. The other option is select specific content. When you select specific content, it gives you the ability to choose what you want to import. So this is a great way to import just one quiz and question banks associated with that quiz, and then the files, the images, anything like that that you want to pull in. This is a great way to do it with the select specific import. I myself do not recommend adjusting events and due dates. Should you choose to do that, you can shift dates. So if you're copying spring to spring, fall to fall, that's really nice. If you're copying spring to fall and fall to spring, remember that things like spring break and Thanksgiving break happen at different times, and so you'll need to go in and adjust those. Also remember, if you do this with the adjust events and due dates, if you choose that and you have events or meetings set up in the course that are in the calendar, those are coming over and they're adjusting. So one of the problems that has happened is if you have a series of Zoom meetings set up for your class, if you do the adjust events and due dates, they are going to move into the new class, into the new area, and so then you have to go through and delete all of those before you can start working in your new class. So this is part of why I never suggest using adjust events and due dates, but it is available for you. When you're ready, then you simply click on import. If you import all content, everything in your class will be imported. If you import select specific content, then it comes up and it asks you what you want to import by having the select content button. You select the content, and now you can see what is included in this, and I can pick and choose exactly what I want. So I can go in, click on the arrow in front, and I can look at every single individual document that I want to pull in. I can choose an individual document and then hit select content, or I can choose everything and pull that in. Announcements, same thing. Pages, discussion topics, etc. I can go through and I can literally click on everything, or I can only choose one item. For instance, here I've got a syllabus quiz and I've got a question bank of questions that might be associated with that. Discussion topics, those types of things. When I'm ready, I simply click on select content. It queues up and it runs, and at the end of that, it's available to me to use, and you can see everything that I've just imported. Now, reason I suggest you do this at the very beginning is because it will overwrite anything that you put in your class. So as I refresh this page, you see now the menu order has changed. If I go to home page, that now has a page in it with an image. Under modules, I now have the modules that were in that particular class. Announcements, etc. Everything is in here from that class. It has completely copied that class over. So this is a way of pulling in a different class into your class. That is called import existing content, and I specifically showed you copy a Canvas course.